I have a question for the crew. You often talk about guys wearing T-shirts and jeans and not come across as stars, which I agree with. However, LA Knight does that as well and totally looks like a star. Can you give pointers on how someone can pull off such attire and still look like a somebody? Is it LA Knight's physique that makes him from normal clothing look better? Thanks as always. I come to you for my fashion advice. P.S. Conan, that pink and purple polo you wore recently was sharp.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of compliments on YouTube about that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good for him.
That's from my male audience.
No, definitely LA Knight. He comes across and he dresses like a star. He's got his arms are hanging out of his sleeveless shirt. He's got big arms and shoulders. He looks like a star. He's got glasses on.
Yeah, he's wearing cool boots. He's not wearing sneakers. He's wearing fashionable jeans that are ripped, and he's also wearing a vest. He's wearing some sunglasses that look cool. You know, like he's got a cool look.
For example, he's wearing an LA Knight T-shirt. He's wearing a vest. And he's got jeans stuff. Bro, he's not showing up to work and walking down the streets like that. This is what he wears on the show in front of people. You know what I'm saying? So like I say, he's not dressed like he showed up in his car and he got out of his car and walked to the ring. You know, so next one's from interesting. Matthew Lund, and the subject is AEW drama. Listen to your recent debate about the backstage drama. Disco mentioned, is Punk worth it? Question the other side is, would the litigation be worth it? Given the absolute mess that was the all-out brawl, it put AEW in a dangerous legal position, where any of the sides could hold Tony and AEW in court for years and sue potentially for tens of millions of dollars. Liability and negligence applies to everyone, and simply cutting contracts is a dangerous path to go down. My suggestion from a legal point of view, without knowing details within any of the contracts or any of the players, would be to play the Bill Watts card and find everyone involved in the backstage drama a hefty sum, let's say $1 million. Then sit everyone down and tell them that the fines can be suspended if everyone signs a hold harmless agreement, indemnifying the company entirely while also agreeing to put all issues in the past and begin to work together again. But what say you, without being able to fire anyone, how would you solve the issues in the backstage locker room? I would have sat all these guys down. I'm hearing that the Elite don't want to sit down with him, and Punk's willing, but Punk's actions of basically, getting people excommunicated from his show and stuff doesn't look like the type of guy that you're dealing with good faith in.
And he's still insulting Adam Page.
He's still like I'm saying, but bro, you don't CM Punk is not coming across as a good faith actor in this drama, like somebody that if you sat down with him and then square, would this guy go into business for himself? Because it looks like he's doing business for himself. He's doing a show. These guys can't be on the show if I'm on the show and something like that. That's you're looking at yourself. So I can see where the Elite, even though they should be, because they're the executive vice presidents, they should be willing to sit down and work it out with this guy. But I absolutely see how they would be, what's the word I want to use? Skeptical of whether Punk is going to hold up his end of the bargain, because of the fact that he has been, everything he's doing is centered around CM Punk. So I don't know. It's a mess. But I would have honestly, you could get a guy like Conan, people that just you like Conan. If you were in charge, okay, if you were in Tony Khan's position, this was dumped in your lap. Do you trust your ability to navigate your way through a situation logically to appease everybody involved in anything, that you could work your way through this? If you explain it to these, go ahead.
I think with those players involved, I could get it done.
Right, because it's because they're not stupid. All these guys are intelligent people. You could explain to them the obvious pluses and minuses of us working together. And that's just like that. I think Tony doesn't really have any reference point to sit down with these guys and come from a reference point. How do I fix this? Because this is the first time he's ever done this, and this is the first time he's ever had a problem like this. Where people that have been in the business, like Conan, you deal with it. How often have you had to deal with talent that doesn't want to work with each other, and you got them to work with each other over the course of 30 years?
Too many times to count.
Right. So how many times has Tony Khan had to deal with it?
How many times a week?
Like zero. It's like a first run. It's and you're dealing with your top stars. So I don't know. like you can sit there, like it can be done, but I just don't think that Tony has like the experience to deal with this. And like we see it, there's legal, there's lawsuits involved. Like I don't know. I would have. I mean, I'm fascinated that nobody can convince these people. Let's just make this work. That's crazy to me. I just
what fascinates me even more?
What?
I said this, I believe, last week. The Young Bucks came out and they were like, "Hey, we just signed NBA-like deals, right?" Obviously, that means it's a big, good deal. I can't believe Tony didn't say, "I'm going to make you rich for a long time. You're not going to have to worry about anything. You'll still have creative input. You'll still be a vice president. You'll still have your own dressing room. You'll still have a car service." I don't know what else he gives them, right?
Right.
Your wife can still work here, Cutler Butler or whatever. What's his?
Brandon
The
Cutler.
guy with the spray. Brendan Cutler was a nice guy, but anyways, he can still be part of your posse like he's always been. Knock us out, whatever. But you have to sit down and you have to make business, because the business that we can make, it's going to benefit all of it. It's going to help the company grow, and it's going to give us a buzz again. I can't believe that wasn't part of the conversation.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if it's part of the conversation, but what might have been, and the reaction wasn't what you would think. That could be a problem. That's the same. We don't know. Right?
Too.
Yeah.
Right. That too.
Next is from Pedro Arellano, and the subject is there is no subject. Hello, K100 crew. I'm a big fan of Conan and Disco. I grew up watching AWA. I was a big fan of Chief Wahoo McDaniels and the Crusher. Do you two have any knowledge of these two wrestlers? I began watching AEW and want to know your thoughts on Sammy Guevara. I think this young man will do great things in the business. Enjoy your show and thank you for your time, Pedro. Yes, I did know Wahoo McDaniels and the Crusher. I didn't see a lot of it. I actually never saw. I mean, of all the wrestling I watched in my life, like in a match, like on recorded, like watching a TV show, because I grew up with a lot of TV you could watch, like it's 7 hours of wrestling every Saturday night for different parts of the country. I can't recall seeing a Crusher match. Saw tons of Wahoo McDaniels and NWA and stuff like that, but I can't recall ever seeing the Crusher wrestle a match. And Sammy Guevara,
wasn't he mostly? He was. He was
AWA, but I started watching AWA after he was kind of done. Yeah, but he was kind of on the tail end of his career, and I don't really recall him. Maybe he was in a match. I don't know. Sammy Guevara is very talented. He just needs to learn to navigate his bumps throughout his career. Like if you're doing, there's no reason to go out there and kill yourself unless or try something very risky unless the situation merits it. Would be my advice to Sammy Guevara. But he definitely can. He's a good character. He looks good, athletic, got a cocky attitude. Good ring presence. I mean, he's going to go places if he doesn't get hurt. That's the only worry I would have about Sammy Guevara. He's got that evil Knievel mentality, which he doesn't need to have.
Darby.
He doesn't need to have it. He's good looking. He can work. He can talk. It's like you don't want to give that. You don't want to go that route because you don't have to. So, would you agree with that, Conan?
Well, I think, Sammy, I met him a long time ago in Monterrey, Mexico, by this guy, Robert Supermark Figueroa. And then I helped him get into Lucha Underground, and we worked together with your boy Vince in Aero Lucha. So I've known him for a long time. I do think he used to be way more aerial. I do think sitting under the Jericho learning tree, he does less stuff. There's still some stuff he wants to do because he's young and he can do it. But yeah, he's got all the potential to be a star.
Right. Next is from David Bentz, and the subject is audibles and follow-up booking. Dear K100 crew, although it can't 100% be confirmed, what's your opinion of Willow Nightingale winning the Owen Hart Trophy tournament? Was possibly TK changing his booking plans based off the audible of her winning the New Japan Strong Women's Championship when Mercedes Moné got injured mid-match? Like, was it possibly a move to give her legitimacy and get people to stop thinking about how she only got a belt off of injury? Also, do you guys have any interesting stories about making audibles, rather be mid-match or while booking? Thanks, guys. I'm going to go sub to Factor Diet Foods now. That's from David from Sacramento. I don't care anything about what they're doing with Willow Nightingale, but I will say I wrestled Kidman one time. He was supposed to be with the Shooting Star Press. He screwed it up, took a terrible bump, and basically when he missed it, he hit the ropes and he looked like he killed himself. So Nick Patrick said, "Just go ahead and pin him." So I pinned him. So that was a good, and that's the way the booking should have been for that match to begin with. Would you agree with that, Conan? That the booking was poor, with them thinking the Kidman should go over me and that justice is served. Would you agree with
Who
that?
was the booker?
Sullivan,
Very intelligent booker, Sullivan.
cheap shot. You got any comments?
The only thing I can remember, there are tapes out there which was recorded by this guy Ron Rivera, who actually started like teaching lucha libre in Southern California, and from there came PWG. But he's got a lot of tapes where we started riots in Tijuana, Mexicali, back in the '90s. And so there were a lot of times where we were like, okay, this crowd is getting really hot. We better run into the dressing room before it gets out of hand. You know, there have been times when the crowd got so hot, did turn into a riot, and they were waiting, you know, at the heel dressing room for the heel to go back or the baby face, depending who it was, and we'd just go to the opposite one. And had to be sometimes taken out in the trash, sometimes taken out hidden. Yeah. So yeah, we've had to call audibles back in the day.
Interesting.